Part two, I categorize that. I don't know how I'm arranging my sheets here, but just I'm not as organized as you are. So part two is your senior age, and using the 4W curve concept or model, it will say the reality sets in. You have a cultural shock. This was in your senior secondary school at Newsrat. Unbelievable. No records found for you to be enrolled. Naming problem, birth certificate issue. Just construct that for us. And then the people who inspire you, your comrades, your peers, as well as some of the lecturers by Mr. Tucker. And then graduate third best student in Newsrat before getting into your professional life. Please take us through your senior secondary school age, your senior age, your reality age, please.
Yeah, thank you once again, Salieu. And taking from the closing point of the last part, I emphasize that point because it is important for our young people today. Some people are in school, some people are in classes, some people are having other professions or activities they are pursuing. But the truth is, as we are going to school or as others are going to school, there are other children who are in a war zone area. There are children who are in a hunger area. So we should not take this education for granted, no matter where we are. Now, when I moved to high school, or before I moved to high school, I got my grade 9 results. We went to Newsrat. They started asking for, come with your results and your birth certificate. And I never had a birth certificate at that point in time. I mean, I had, but I never seen my birth certificate because my mom would always told me a story of when they were in Manikunda, in their own compound. There was a fire that took away the birth certificate, and we never went ahead to look for a birth certificate. And I never needed it at that point in time. I was in school. But here we are in Newsrat. I have to get a birth certificate for me to be able to enroll into Newsrat. Then my uncle, may so rest in perfect peace, Keba Saje Sawaneh, then said we have to look for something, because if I want to go to the village to go and get a birth certificate, that may take another 1 week or even not a month. So he then said, luckily, I have another son here, my son, who is almost of your age, just few months apart, who will use his birth certificate and give it to the school. Let them register it, there's no problem, come and take it. So we went to that son's mom, she gave us the son's birth certificate, and that's what I entered with it to the school, and they registered it because we are having the same name. We all have just the initial. And as you know, initial is not a big thing in Gambia if you looked at it 20 years ago. So we took his birth certificate and got enrolled into Nusrat. Problem solved. So that was how we solved that problem. And that means the truth is the birth certificate the birth date I'm using today on my official papers are not my true birth date. I don't know, because my parents can only tell me the year Jahali and Pachar rice field project was inaugurated. So we know the year is okay. We know the time within that is okay, but not the exact day, and even the month, I'm not sure. Now, I got admission to Nusrat. It was the issue of choice of curriculum. In Nusrat, then what used to happen, they have commerce, they have arts, and they have science. When I was coming from high school, I loved science. Actually, my best teacher in high school was my science teacher called George Oris, a Nigerian, who is still up till now in our area. So that guy, he deserves a national award if I have one, because he's still committed to being in Gambia, not only in Gambia, but in rural Gambia, to educating the young people, and he's still there. So I had the intent, if I go to Nusrat, can I possibly study science streams? At Nusrat, they will say if your maths and science combined together is more than 8, because it was aggregate system. So you have from 1 is the best and 9 is the worst one. So if your maths and science combined together is more than 8, you cannot take that particular, you cannot take science classes. And I think my maths was around maybe a 4 or a 5, and similar one also for my science. So I had like a 9 if you combine two subjects together. So that would not allow me to go to science. But apart from that, I also had to balance with my elder brother, Malan Sawaneh, commonly called Malki Sawaneh. Then was, if I go to science, I have to buy a lot of new books. He was in commerce. If I go to commerce, I can simply use his grade 10 books and continue. So that also becomes another match or another strategy in terms of looking for a solution. So it was easier. I moved into commerce streams. So with commerce streams, I got Malan's book, so I don't have to buy new books on all the subjects apart from the exercise books. This was a problem. That was how we maneuvered that. So we moved to commerce. And of course, there was issues around getting new shoes. Nusrat was saying you have to have a sports shoes, white sports shoes. They are very peculiar with those dress in Nusrat. You have to get a white sports shoes. You have to get a uniform. Again, some family members came in, uncles came in and gave me some $200. I bought a shoe from that. One of a distant cousin who was in Nusrat in the afternoon shift gave me his old uniform. He said, you can start with this one for now. Maybe by the time your parents send you money, you can buy uniform, but start with this. So they used to have some blue strips in the afternoon shift. I just removed that, iron it, and I started with that. For all of these people, each of them didn't know what they were doing, because for each of them, they were thinking they were doing something small for me. Okay? But for me, at this point in time, they were doing something great for me because they were all working towards ensuring that I start classes in Nusrat. And another challenge that came from Nusrat was now the school fee. Who will pay for the school fees? Remember, in my junior school, it was Kausu. She said, that's for me to pay my school fee. But then Kausu traveled back to Europe, and it has been a while we did not talk. We didn't communicate. Then my dad said, you can go to Kausu's younger brother. He has a younger brother who was working in Gambia then called Kemo Sise. Then I went to Kemo's house. We saw him my results. Kemo saw the results. He appreciated and he said, you know what? I will try and communicate with Kausu, but for the meantime, go to school and get a bill and get the school bill, then you bring it to me. When we got the bill, Kemo agreed he was going to pay for the school fee until Kausu come back to him. So again, this was another decision, someone helping him. You know, they say a common saying that it may take a child may be born to one family, but it take a whole village to bring up that child. And that's what happened in my own educational journey. And these stories up till now sort of inspire me to do more community service, because it was not just my parents, it was not just my core family. And as you go later, you will hear many more stories, Gambians and non-Gambians, who have impacted me. And that's why today, when I'm doing a social work, a community work, a work that will impact a lot of people, I'm doing that because I knew from the beginning I was also supported by other people along the line. Now, we got into Nusrat, and the day we had to introduce ourselves, first day in the school, it was, I feel a bit intimidated. And why? Because all the students, most of the students, either came from the top schools, as we know, in the city, whether I'm coming from maybe a Sukuta, or I'm coming from a Brikama, or I'm coming from LK, all those top names were coming up. I think I was the only one who came from my area, as in my region. And when I even introduced the name of my school, one guy even sort of asked me, oh, which area is that? So you kind of feel that peer pressure again. Nobody is disturbing me, but it's how we perceive the environment. So I feel sort of pressured. And also when I had the other students introducing their grade, some people will say, oh, I had aggregate 10. Some people will say I had aggregate 15, 16. I had aggregate 29, 28. Again, I feel pressured that I had Nusrat is very good. I've always had Nusrat is a very good school. Nusrat has a lot of intelligent students. So I said to myself that I have to work very hard. because I don't want to take last in this class. At least when I work very hard, if I'm among the top or the bottom 10 people, as long as I don't take last. And when I recall on some of those things, sometimes pressure in life is good. Because maybe without that pressure, I may be sort of not care much, because I'll just say these are all normal students like me. But because of that singular pressure on that first day in Nusrat, for me, every day was like an examination day. When I come back from school, every subject, every topic we handle, I will not go to bed without necessarily revising them to understand them. I had my brother's notes, I will make sure I read them. Because why? I am trying to avoid last position in the class. I was trying to avoid that because there was a pressure. I constantly keep on studying. I was under pressure throughout until the first term results were announced in the class. At that very morning, when Mr. Tucker, our class teacher or form teacher, came to the class, he first came in and announced, okay, who is Mr. Ebrima Sawaneh? He didn't pronounce it properly, he's from Salieu. And in the class, we had two Ebrimas, Ebrima Sawaneh and Ebrima Sawaneh. So it's a matter of U and the A. So when he said that, I kept quiet. I didn't know whether it was a bad news or a good news. I just said I kept quiet until somebody said, Mr. Tucker, can you please clarify? We have two Ebrima here with similar surname. You now said it clearly, and he spelled my name this time around. So I knew his name. So I just raised my hand, and he said, okay, thank you. He left. Imagine the pressure started keep on increasing because everybody was looking at me. I didn't know what was happening. So I was there. Then he came back an hour later to give our results to us. He called everybody's name. I was the last. And when he came to me, he called me again and said, come and meet me. So again, I thought I did something very bad. But when he said, okay, although all of you did very well in this first term, in first term examination, but Ebrima here took the first position.
Wow. Wow.
That was a very strong or a turning moment for me, because I was never expected to even take a 10th position in Nusrat in our class, much more be on the top of the class.
Right.
But it was also a defining moment for me because it put inspiration, it put hope in me that I can achieve anything in this Nusrat. My brother came to me and said, you know what, in Nusrat, when you take first in your class, by the time you finish grade 10, next year they will give you a scholarship and they will give you some award. I think that was Nusrat Jahan Scholarship Merit or Award. They will give it to you. And they will even call you at the assembly, the next graduation speech ceremony day. And along with that, when these results were announced, some of my friends jokingly said, don't worry, next time we will take first, we will take it from you. So this set another challenge in me. I never reduced the time I spent studying my notes, because now it was a moment. Remember, my school fee matter came up promised to pay until he hear from council. So at that point in time, my first term school fee was resolved. I don't know what's going to happen the second term, third term yet. It's not guaranteed. So, but Mikey told me that if you study very hard, you get the first position, you will even have a scholarship. So I now looked at that scholarship. It's like I'm looking for freedom. The scholarship is like my road to freedom. So I studied very hard. Second time came, I took first. Third time came, I took first. And now I had the opportunity, or I was given the scholarship. The next graduation ceremony, I was called to go and receive as the best student from Nusrat Commerce 1 morning shift.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Each of these steps keeps on motivating me, keeps on inspiring me. And I'm sure it was not only me, because in that school, I was there with some other colleagues or classmates from my previous junior secondary school in the Brikamaba. They were with me. They also feel inspired. They also feel that if I can achieve this, they too can also achieve something. Both those who are in New Zealand, probably those who are even in Gambia and the rest. Then we moved to grade 11. Grade 11, so in grade 10, I was not spending most of my time in the class. When it is break time, I will leave the class, go and spend time with my friends from, you can call them the village boys. I go and spend my friends with my other village boys in their class. We spend time together because I don't know most of those people in our class. So, but in grade 10, in 11, things changed a bit. In grade 11, I started making friends. It started with the ladies, female classmates who would start asking me questions. They will ask me a question about maths, maybe about accounting. Then I started developing that idea or skills of sharing knowledge with my other classmates. We, in that grade 11, towards the ending, we started forming our own study group. Because at that point in time, we also felt, in my opinion, that it is better when we collaborate than we just compete.
That's true.
Because when you collaborate, it's a bigger part. Nobody, the truth is in life, nobody is competing with somebody else. Let's just look at, we just call it competition, but we are not competing. We are not competing with somebody else. They want to study, go to their own universities, and pursue whatever thing they want to pursue. I want to study. At that time, my mind was in UTG, University of the Gambia. Some of them, their minds were in Europe because their parents could afford it. Some of them were good in English than me. Some of them were good probably in economics than me. I was very good in mathematics and accounting. When we collaborated, we've seen overall our performance have improved because we become a class that is willing to share knowledge. Nobody is holding it. When the teacher is not around, oh, Ebrima, you go and help us with that math topic. Teacher is not around, we say, okay, Ali, you go and help us with that economics topic. And this is how we form a bond among ourselves. It was a small team, not the entire class. But this is a team up to today. We keep on communicating. We went to grade 12. We continued with that story. We even got other people from different schools. For example, I have one of a very close friend and a brother called Keba Sane, SBI, we call him. He was in Kotu that time, but he used to come and join us. We studied together. And through these studies, I finished high school. And when the results came out for that year, I was among the top 3 best students in New Zealand, when I had 5 A's, 2 B's, and a C.
Yeah, beautiful. I don't know what to say, man. Man, you are just another hidden genius. I think coming to the public is very, very good. Very, very good. We just pray for the future generation to emblem you and types like yourself. May that happen. I don't know how to summarize this, but don't wrong me. Just a scholarly figure in management, but the only way I can summarize all that you've said is, I don't know if you know this remarkable fellow, his name is Victor H. Vroom. I think he's a professor from MIT. He said he came up with the expectancy theory. It goes like this: effort leads to performance, and performance leads to reward. You are someone who really put in enormous effort from the starting day when you have a birth certificate issue to be enrolled, naming problem to be enrolled. You put in a heck of an effort together with the family, and then that yielded you the performance that you intended, and that actually brings you the reward. Boy, I don't know if you go into economics, that is what you call externalities. There are some negatives that are coming at you. There are some baggages that are coming at you. It was kind of pulling you apart, but you still determined to move forward. And yes, there were some positives that are coming in. My brother, you are a gentleman of an organized soul, I must confess. That's why Shakespeare will always be right. He said, may the road be rough, that French guy. Today, a blessing to the language that me and you are speaking, that you were able to put in construct. My brother, you are just a hidden genius. I'm telling you, that's why ARPS Media should always be blessed, and other media should be blessed to have you for a conversation in an open arena as proclaimed the Johari window. Alma Okela. Alma continue. Sorry, I have to mix Mandingo here, and if possible, any language that comes up. We're in the African soil. So we need to make quasi this English language. So at some point, we develop our own common language that can be spoken by everyone in the African continent. Now, you graduated with 5 A's, 2 B's, and 1 C. That was the reward. Woo! Unbelievable. A reward that is not suffice enough to earn you scholarship. I'm taking you to your professional age. Exemplary result. Manuel Kant. Examples are the gold cards of standard. You've put forward a standard to any student, and any student to become one in the future. That remarkable result, yet is unable to earn you a scholarship. And you were balancing UTG with your own enrollment to be self-paid, dropping out, moving forward, GTB Bank, EcoBank, your professional life, AFC, Africa Finance Corporation. Today, the institution you work for.